So we've botched round one of the big Epstein file release. And at the same time in the news yesterday was the return of the despicable Tate brothers to the United States. Now, I don't know much about the brother Tristan, but I've seen enough about Andrew Tate to realize he's a disgusting pig misogynist. And that's fine. You can be a disgusting pig misogynist and live in the United States of America. It's really not much of my business. His return to the United States, okay, I don't really care. I mean, he's an American citizen. He's got dual citizenship, U.S. and U.K. So I guess he's allowed to come back because supposedly these charges against him for sex trafficking, et cetera, in Romania, some have been dropped due to some prosecutorial negligence in the case, and others are remaining. They're supposed to go back to Romania in the next year or so to go answer more. They're also facing potential charges in the UK, same type of thing. What I care about, because I don't know the legalities and I haven't looked into them, so I'm not going to, tie him up there. What I know is he's a disgusting, vile creature with whom I want nothing to do. And the more influence he has over the young men of America, the more my stomach turns. And it's because Andrew Tate is not just an alleged criminal, put that to the side. He's just a very bad man. And I'll give you an example in this budded sot that we've pulled, which will give you a feel for why I loathe him.
They didn't teach you in self-defense? Here's a little move. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me trying to resist, and I just... And then I grab you by your neck again. Then what the fuck are you gonna do when your face is collapsed and your fucking cheekbone's broken? You ain't gonna do shit but cry.
I guarantee I changed the way you look at sex forever. You're gonna be fucking crying. I won't cry. I bet you cry, bitch. I bet you fucking cry. You're saying I wouldn't cry. You're challenging me to a fight. You're saying I can't hurt you. You're out of your fucking mind? I don't even have to fuck you. Forget the sex part. That's a distraction. My dick can stay in my pants. I'll just start beating the shit out of you. How about that? We walk in the bedroom. I start kicking your ass. No sex. No sex involved. But you cry then.
I perfected this in pimp school. When I got my PhD, we had to practice if a girl comes at you, you cheater, you cheating. It's bang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch! Her panties get wet. The machete's on the floor, her panties are all wet. You go, fuck her. That's how it goes. Slap, slap. Grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. These are the basic moves of pimp.
Okay. Credit to Milk Bar TV for putting together that montage. We have ones we could go through that would take us all day with young women in tears about what they claim he did to them, about alleged beatings. I mean, videotapes that purport to show that. We haven't been independently able to verify this stuff, so I'm not going to put it on the air. I'm just saying there's a ton. You could swim in an ocean of that stuff around this guy all day long. And for some reason, his status has somewhat divided conservatives. Like, there's a faction of the right that is celebrating him, and I guess his brother too, their return to the United States. There was even a report that Rick Grinnell, who has been getting hostages out of places like Venezuela, was instrumental in orchestrating their return. He's denied it, but it's been admitted that he at least had a conversation, I think, with the Romanian foreign minister about the Tates. Now he's claiming, he didn't insist that they be allowed home, but suddenly they got released to come back home. So I don't know what the truth is there either. But I'll tell you what I do know, and that is that there is a group called the Tampa Bay Young Republicans, which is a young Republican group down in Tampa Bay that has decided to invite this guy and his brother to come speak to them. This is what they tweeted out. TBYR formally welcomes these two guys to Florida. As free speech absolutists, the Tates haven't been formally convicted of any crimes and are welcome to speak to our group. We're old enough to remember when a convicted felon won the presidency. Like, every claim against any Republican is bullshit, Emily. And like, all we really need to care about is whether you're facing criminal charges as opposed to whether you are a piece of human excrement.
Which, by the way, actually does no favors to Donald Trump to lump him in, to lump the lawfare against Donald Trump in with like extremely serious charges. And I also am not I haven't gone deep into the weeds on whether or not there's some legitimate lawfare or weaponization happening against the Tate brothers.
And they've denied all the charges. I should remind people, but keep going.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's what the Tampa Bay Young Republicans statement, I actually thought that was really interesting too, because they are directly drawing this line, Trump to Tate, which is, I think, a pretty bad sign for the right. And when I talk to some young men, especially, you could roll that montage for them and they would be like, yeah, we know. We're not saying he's a good person. We're saying he's right about masculinity and femininity. And so the argument becomes like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, we know this guy is awful, but he's, doing some good things for young men. He's speaking to us and he's, entertaining us and appealing to us for all these reasons, because he's saying something about masculinity that the mainstream doesn't want to hear. Thus, the charges against him are because people in the mainstream are just threatened, and they don't believe in the differences between men and women, et cetera, which is true, by the way. But opposing Andrew Tate is not something that you do just because you are someone who's gatekeeping and are in the mainstream, which means that it ends up pushing people to affiliate with him. And so as much as I despise gatekeeping on the right and support free speech as the Tampa Bay Young Republicans do, there's such a difference between like appreciating the boundaries and understanding that free speech is real and important, and like actually then affiliating yourself with this dude. So it's kind of unfortunate that we're just in this situation. And for young people, they're lost. And it's no wonder that they end up going to, gravitating towards someone like Andrew Tate, who, by the way, he is so emotional. You'd think he was a woman, Megyn. I mean, is the least masculine clips that I just saw. He's like running a multi-level marketing scheme. Like he's selling leggings on Facebook Marketplace and whining about
truly
his,
he's such
significant
a baby.
others.
And let's face it, only a sad little man would be talking about how he's going to beat the hell out of a woman. I punch her in the face. I punch her. Oh, all right, tough guy. Okay, right. Yeah. And no real man would actually behave that way, never mind brag about it. That's the thing. So it's like, I look at the men I know in the conservative movement, and they're absolutely lovely. Most of them tend to be married. They have long-term marriages. They have families that they love and support. And there's absolutely nothing even questionable about their romantic choices or their love lives. Not to say nobody's ever made a mistake. I'm just saying that this is not representative at all of the new right. And when we talk about what's been done to men and boys on the right, this is not the antidote. Mm-hmm. Like, this actually is toxic masculinity, people. This is what the real version of it. And in our push to say, stop using that absurd term over anybody who just stands up for himself and manliness, masculinity. Stop using that term. We're right. But then we too need to be able to look at the Andrew Tates of the world and say, that's what you're looking for right there. And we condemn it too.
Yeah, it's so easy. And people like Josh Hawley and Ben Shapiro and you, Megyn, have come out and been really clear on this. Like, you can be all for free speech and you can be against the left's ridiculous standards about sex and gender and still say this guy is a piece of garbage. He doesn't need to be listened to. You don't have to pay attention to him. I think the problem is that there are so many young men that have been poorly served by elites and by media that now they're way more susceptible to people like Andrew Tate who come in and offer something that feels sort of intoxicating, and it feels like it's appealing to your masculinity. And it's like the problem, it's really, really dangerous then for anybody in, I think, Trump world, the new right, to play footsie at all with Tate, because it validates that there's something going on there. And with him, there really isn't. Like, so I'm sorry that he, has like a six pack. I don't think that, makes him interesting or compelling as an example of masculinity.
At all. I mean, this guy's so vile. I really hope he doesn't get platformed by any group, never mind a Republican group. Talk about bad for the brand. There is a world of difference between Donald Trump and Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is what the left thinks Donald Trump is, okay? Try not to lean in, young Republicans. I really hope they reverse their decision. There's been no formal invitation. There's been no acceptance from what I've seen, but they're just proudly waving it around out there like they think this is a virtuous course. You don't just go out and buy a life jacket when the boat is already sinking, and you don't buy gold when the economy has already collapsed. Clearly, others are heeding this advice as gold hit all-time highs already this year. It's not too late for you too. and you could have Birch Gold help you diversify into physical gold. Birch Gold specializes in helping you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold for no money out of pocket. One recent 5-star review said Birch Gold was, quote, knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the letters MK to the numbers 989898. There is no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, text MK to 989898 and let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today with gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.